Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all back to the Boombox Guru channel. So before we even get in today's video, let's go ahead and just get it out the way. As you can see, I have cut my hair. I no longer have those locks that have been in so many of the videos that I've been putting up for the past, 3 or 4 years now. I actually had those locks for about 5 years, and I did enjoy them while it lasted, but man, it just got to a point this year where I was like, you know what, I'm not really feeling it no more. And plus, I got a lot going on right now where I don't really have the time to really deal with locks, because there's a bit of maintenance that goes into keeping them if you want to keep them looking right all the time, and I just don't have the time to do that right now. But I had them for 5 years. It was definitely time for a change, so I decided to make an appointment at a barbershop and get them cut, man. And you know what, I'm not even sad about it. I'm glad I did it. Like, as soon as the barber started cutting them off, man, I just felt relieved when I was sitting in that chair. And once I seen the end result, man, I was definitely pleased. So yeah, I don't miss them at all, but it was great the journey was great while it lasted, man. And I don't plan on keeping my hair this short, but it's a real nice haircut. Everybody that's seen me with my new haircut, man, they've enjoyed it, they've liked it. So hope you all do. But yeah, just had to go ahead and get that out of the way for anybody that's wondering what happened to my hair. Yeah, decided to get it cut. So today's video is actually not going to be about my hair, though. That's not what we're going to be talking about. We're actually going to be talking about the new album by Linkin Park called From Xero, which was released on November 15th, 2024. And probably by the time that this album drops, because this video will be dropping after Thanksgiving by the time you see this, and it'll probably be 2 weeks since this album was released. But yes, this is the brand new album from Linkin Park. Never thought that I would be saying that Linkin Park put out a new studio album. I'm pretty sure, like most of you out there, we thought that Linkin Park was pretty much done, but no, they decided to continue on, got new members, and they put out this new record called From Xero. And this is what I want to talk about today. So From Xero, this is Linkin Park's first studio album in over 7 years. Their last album being One More Light, which came out back in 2017. And unfortunately, that album would also be their last with longtime singer Chester Bennington, who, we don't know what he was dealing with. I know Chester had history of depression and stuff like that, but it ultimately led to him taking his own life, which came unexpected. I think the rock world was really shook up by that. I can't even imagine what his family felt and what his band members felt waking up and finding that out. But yeah, that really derailed the band. It put them on an indefinite hiatus. And like most of you that's probably watching this video, I pretty much thought that Linkin Park was done, because Chester was such a huge part of Linkin Park. I mean, he was that missing puzzle that they needed to get to the next level. Because Linkin Park, they were a band before Chester joined, but it was when he joined the band where the labels really started to take interest in them, and they ended up getting signed, and they ended up becoming one of the most successful modern rock bands of this generation. Their first two albums, Hybrid Theory and Meteor, are considered classics of the nu metal genre, especially Hybrid Theory. Their albums after that became a bit hit or miss for a lot of people, although I do like Living Things and The Hunting Party. But even with that being said, even with the mixed results of albums after the first two, they still maintained a loyal and huge fan base. And it really shook up a lot of people when Chester passed away unexpectedly. And I always thought that Linkin Park were just this band, and they would be one of those bands that would just reunite every so often and do like one-off shows, or partake in like maybe some type of promotional activity, maybe like some type of special projects or tributes to Chester, with maybe guest vocalists coming in and singing Chester's parts or something like that. That's what I thought was going to happen. But I was really caught off guard when they pretty much announced that they had a new singer and a new drummer, because Rob Bourdon, he actually left the band in 2018, because he just started distancing himself from the band in 2018. He stopped participating in any type of promotional activities whatsoever, and he officially left, and he was replaced by Colin Brittain. But nobody ever thought that they were going to continue on without Chester. And actually, it sounds like from the interview that I watched with Mike Shinoda and Emily Armstrong, it looks like this actually started kind of gaining traction around 2019 secretly. They actually started secretly getting the ball rolling on moving forward around that time. So it's actually been about 5 years that this has been in the works, but they just did such a great job at keeping it a secret. But whatever the case, even though I'm not like a diehard Linkin Park fan, I do own most of their studio albums, but it was really cool to see that the band decided to move forward and to continue on. And I thought that was pretty cool. Although it did result in some controversy and some like mixed results and division amongst the fan base. And honestly, I don't really want to get into all the controversy that's surrounding the new singer Emily Armstrong, because that seems to be all that anybody's talking about now since this album has come out. Like, it came out when it was first announced that she had become the new singer in Linkin Park, but then once this album dropped, it all just had made a resurgence, and that's all that most people are really talking about. Although there are a few platforms out there that are focusing on the music and so forth, and people have seemed to just forgotten that they also had a new drummer too named Colin Brittain. I mean, the whole controversy surrounding Emily Armstrong and the band deciding to continue on without Chester, it's just overshadowed a lot of things, and I think it's also overshadowed this album. So I didn't really want to bring too much of that up. I mean, if you want to know more about it, there's plenty of videos here on YouTube. There's plenty of people that are making videos about the controversy. There's plenty of articles you can read online about it. In this particular video, I really just wanted to focus on the music and so forth, and my own personal thoughts of how I feel about this new album. Yeah, so Linkin Park, man, they had a pretty cool promotional kind of tactic that they pulled when announcing the new singer, the new drummer, as well as the new album. They had this like time clock that was counting down, and then they kind of tricked everybody because nothing happened when it initially stopped. Then they started another one, and that's when everything came out about Emily Armstrong being a new singer and Colin Brittain joining the band, and then the new album. So the first single was the first single was actually the first track on the album, The Emptiness Machine. And I remember hearing that song when it first dropped, and at that time I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a pretty solid song, but I didn't really go nuts over it. I just thought it was a pretty solid song, and after that I didn't really pay too much more attention to what else the band was doing, because like I said, I'm not like a diehard Linkin Park fan. They're a band that I like and that I listen to, but I didn't really get caught too much in all the hype that was surrounding it. So I didn't really listen to anything else until November 15th when this album dropped. And I was at work that day. I was listening to my Spotify, and I decided, you know what? Linkin Park just dropped this new album. Let me go check it out and see how it sounds. So I gotta tell you that I really think that from Xero, I really think this is a solid comeback for Linkin Park. And the album ended up being better than I expected. I will say that from Xero, it's a grower. It's one of those albums that's, you got to listen to it a few times and you will really start to pick up on like certain things that are really enjoyable about the record. Because I know when I first listened to the album while I was at work, because I think on the release day, I had to listen to the album like 5 or 6 times. And I remember the first listen, I was like, you know what, this album's not so bad. Then the second listen, I was like, hey, this is pretty good. And by the time I got to that 6th listen, I was like, yo, this is a pretty solid album. I actually like it. And one of the things I really liked about it is that they brought back that heavy rock nu metal sound. Because, the previous album, One More Light, they totally deviated from that. That was pretty much a modern pop album. There was really no rock on that record, and that's what really upset a lot of the fans. And that's why that album caught so much backlash. But I was really glad to hear that they decided to bring back some heavy guitars and so forth on this record. But, even with them bringing back that heavy rock nu metal sound, they still have those moments where they decide to go into that pop territory. And, in the past, I think that was one of the things that kind of really was a sore thing for a lot of fans of Linkin Park, because, Hybrid Theory and Meteor, people liked the heaviness of those records. And after that record, that's when they started to experiment with their sound a little bit, and they started to really go into those pop territories. I know I was watching Metal Trenches, his ranking video of Linkin Park, and he talked about how at that point, that was when Linkin Park started to sound like a new metal U2, which I think was a perfect description of the band. Even though they do go into those pop territories on this album, I kind of enjoyed them a little bit more than I did on the prior records. And I think a lot of that has to be attributed to Emily Armstrong, because she is a really good vocalist. Well, good, she's a great vocalist. I think she's a wonderful vocalist. And I think she was the best choice to join the band in this new beginning, in this new era. Because I don't want to say that she's replacing Chester or anything like that. That's not the case. I mean, no one could ever replace Chester and what he brought to that band. But her becoming the new singer in this new era, I mean, I think she was the perfect choice for that. I mean, she gives such a strong performance. I mean, her vocals, she has like this raspiness to her vocals that I really enjoy. She's really good at bringing that harshness, like those kind of punk rock screams and so forth on certain tracks. And I even went back and listened to her other band called Dead Sara, which is different from Linkin Park, because they're kind of like an indie rock, sort of punk, bluesy, hard rock band. But even on those records, she sounds so fantastic, and I'm really hearing how she's bringing some of those elements slightly onto this new album. But I really think that her vocal performance really helps carry this album a lot, especially on those sort of like, I mean, even though it's pop, some of those moments can be a bit generic, honestly. You know, Linkin Park was kind of known for that once they started going into those territories. Like, those pop moments were very generic and bland. But it's just something about Emily's performance for me where it just makes it more interesting, and it makes it worth listening to. So on prior albums where the band would go into those territories and I would be totally uninterested, or I found it to be a bit cringy, on this record, even though it may not be exactly what I want to hear from the band, you know, I can tolerate it. I can actually listen to it. Like, I don't find myself skipping a whole lot of songs on this record. Like, I actually find myself most of the time when I want to listen to this album, listening to it all the way through and finding something to enjoy about each and every song on here. Another thing about this record that I really enjoyed was I thought the dynamic between her and Mike Shinoda, or maybe a better word would be the chemistry between her and Mike Shinoda, was really good. I thought they was really on point with that. You know, the way they share vocals, the way he performs the verses, like the rap verses, and then Emily comes in with those strong choruses and so forth, and certain parts of the song where she's providing like these background melodies and things. Very great chemistry between her and Mike Shinoda. I thought they nailed it. I thought they did a really good job on that. And some of my favorite songs, well, actually my favorite songs on this album are actually the rock songs. Two of my favorites actually would have to be Casualty and Two-Face. Now, Casualty, that has got to be the heaviest song that Linkin Park has released thus far. I've never heard Linkin Park be that heavy. I was actually watching Thralls of Metal's review of this album, and Necrotic Nick, he actually described that song as sounding like Helmet. And I totally agree with that. Like, Casualty sounds like something that Helmet would have done on the Meantime album back in 92. And Two-Faced, that song, man, it just really brings back that jump around rhythm and groove of early 2000s new metal. I mean, you can just go look at the video and see how they're just jumping around and having such a great time in that video. That's exactly the feeling that song Two-Face gives you. I just really like the rhythm. I like the heavy guitar and that groove that's added in it. And just a fantastic song. Those are two of my standouts on the record. I also enjoy IGYEIH, which I think I kind of forgot what that song stood for, but that's another great song. Stain is another one that I enjoy. Now, Stain is more pop. It's more pop, like electronic rock and pop, but I thought it was a fantastic song. Even though it's more electronic and pop, man, it's still got a heaviness to it that I really enjoyed about it. Of course, the Emptiness Machine, you know, that was the first single that I heard when they initially started dropping songs. And although I didn't really care that much about it initially when I first heard it, something about hearing it within the context of this album makes that song sound so much better, especially with the more mellow introduction with Mike coming in, and then once Emily comes in with the chorus and all the heavy guitars come in. That's some of my favorite parts of that song. Cut the Bridge is another one that I enjoy. I didn't initially like that song all that much when I first heard it, but it's something about listening to this album over and over again where Cut the Bridge, although it may not be one of my favorites in particular, it's catchy. It gets stuck in your head. It's something about that chorus. It just gets stuck in your head. Heavy as the Crown is another great one. That's another heavy one. Well, not that heavy, but I really like the rhythm. It's kind of got more of a like alternative rock kind of vibe to it. A heavy alternative rock song with a real nice rhythm and so forth. And I even like the last track on the album, Good Things Go, which you could say is the ballad of this album. You know, I know a lot of people that's reviewed this album haven't said too many good things about Good Things Go, but I thought it was a fitting end to this record. I really thought it was a good way to end the album. And the album's not that long. You know, there's only 11 tracks, technically 10 songs, one intro, which is from Xero, the intro that kicks off the album. And, you know, in typical Linkin Park fashion, you know, the songs are not that long. Most of them are clocking in just at 3 minutes. Casualty is like it's like 2 minutes and something. Maybe 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit more than that, but Casualty is like the shortest song. That's one of the things I really wish Casualty had been a little bit longer, because I think that's overall the best song on the album, and I wish it would have been longer. It's so heavy, man, and I just really enjoyed that track. But overall, I think that from Xero, I think that this is actually a solid comeback for the band. I like this album. Now, even with this album coming out, there's still a lot of divide within the fan base. You know, there's a lot of people who are open to the new direction and this new era that the band is heading into. And then, of course, there's the fans that want to stay loyal to Chester's legacy. They're not having any of it. But in any case, man, whatever the case, man, you know, music is subjective. I really like this album. I think I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the better albums that they put out in quite some time. You know, the last Linkin Park album that I really enjoyed, and some of you are probably going to go in on me on the comment section, was The Hunting Party. I really enjoyed that record. I know a lot of people don't like The Hunting Party. They don't think it was that good of an album, but I really like the raw, stripped down heaviness of that record. Even though From Xero doesn't go totally in that direction, except for the song Casualty, I still think that this album is a step in the right direction. I think they're headed in the right direction. And, you know, there's a lot of comments out there with people saying that the band's playing it safe and this and that. But what do you expect? The band was on hiatus for 7 years. Most of us didn't even think they were even going to come back. Why wouldn't they play it safe? I mean, hey, it's a new lineup. They got a new singer. They got a new drummer. I mean, hey, I think considering what they were up against and all the controversies that they knew that was going to come with them continuing on without Chester, I think that the band put out a really solid album. And personally, for me, I'm actually interested in seeing what the band is going to do next. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be it. I'm hoping that all the controversy that's surrounding Emily Armstrong or whatever, I'm hoping that's not going to drive her out the band. I'm hoping she's going to stand tall and she's going to keep going. And because I'm really interested to see what else this band can do. I'm really not looking for them to try to do anything that they would know with Chester when he was in the band. I'm looking to see them pay respects to Chester and what he brought to the band, but also just taking it into this new direction with a new lineup. That's what I'm really interested in seeing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what more this band can do with this new lineup and so forth. But I really enjoyed From Xero. I thought it was a good record. I thought it was solid. I pretty much overall liked it, all the songs on this album. Of course, I did have my picks that I enjoyed more so, but overall, I thought it was a really solid record that I found myself listening to all the way through anytime I would get in the mood to check it out. So with that being said, everybody, you know, go check out this album for yourself. Judge it for yourself. Try not to let the controversy that's going on or some of the negative reviews that other people are putting out there deter you from checking out this album. Because I really think that a lot of the negative reviews, a lot of it is stemming from people that are upset that the band continued on without Chester, and also a lot of the controversy surrounding Emily Armstrong's past and things like that. So that's just my recommendation. Definitely go and listen to the album for yourself. Just be open-minded and listen to it for yourself and be your own judge of the music. But yeah, that's it for this album review of Linkin Park's from Xero, which came out November 15th, 2024. Hope you all go out there and check out the album and listen to it. And if you watch this video and you do check it out, definitely come back to the comments and let me know your thoughts on the album. Whether you agree or disagree with my review is fine. I'm open to hear anybody's own opinions about this record. But that's it for this album review, Linkin Park from Xero. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, if you could just do me a huge favor, if you could hit that thumbs up and give me a like, if you could just share this video as well as subscribe to the channel, because it does help out. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, everybody that's been watching the videos, everybody that's been leaving really good comments. I really do appreciate it. And as always, hope everybody has a blessed day, a blessed week, and love, peace, and music. Peace out, y'all.